Good evening. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and thank you for joining me on this edition of Technology Access Television. Well, this is June, and June in Chicago is a celebration about small businesses. It is, yes, going to be Small Business Week in June, celebrated the business success and job creation potential of our small business community that's adding value with new products and services and companies all across this city, and really all across this state and all across this country. It is a wonderful, vibrant economy that's made possible by the hard work and dedication of our entrepreneurial community. And to support our entrepreneurs, there are many, many folks that lend a lot of time during their day and during their work hours in the support of small business and job creation and job development. One of those organizations that we all know, but sometimes we don't know like we think we know, is that organization called the Small Business Administration. Yes, it's an organization that sometimes doesn't get a fair rap, but all the time is working all of their time in support of small businesses. And this organization here in Chicago has had an illustrious and a very well-deserved, incredible career. And my guest today is someone who is keeping hope alive at her work in the Chicago District Office of the Small Business Administration. And I'm glad she could come by to give us an update so we can know the good things that this agency is doing right here in Chicago, making a difference in the lives of jobs and business creators every day. Judith Roussel is my guest, and she is the Chicago District Director. Thank you for joining me, Judith.
Thank you for having me on, Bruce.
Now, I happen to be a big fan of what you guys are doing, and I've known, when I think back over my career as an entrepreneur and a business person, I've known quite a lot of people in your line of work. Yes. I can remember, was it Jack?
Yes.
Smith.
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith was a director,
Yes.
and I can't think of a couple of directors before him, but all of the folks in Chicago have always been very passionate, very committed, and try to do the best they can under the circumstances of the agency and the legislation you supported. You've certainly kept that banner alive here in Chicago, and we are so happy that you are in this position. From the Congress people and the people from the Illinois delegation, all of them are happy to see you in this position because you have kept the high quality of work here in Chicago a part of this great reputation. I know it's a challenge because so many things change, but as you look at this agency right now today, what are some of the things that make you most proud of the work that the SBA is doing here in Chicago?
Oh my, I think we've seen a lot of new programs that have come out of the need to respond to the economic downturn that we've experienced over the past few years. And the agency, I think, has really risen to that challenge by trying to keep the flow of capital for small businesses, by bolstering early stage small businesses and high growth small businesses with very intensive executive training and educational programs. We have great partners who shore up the potential for success of small businesses by giving counseling and training, hands-on assistance. And we've always looked for new ways and new programs to meet the ever-changing and evolving challenges.
Well, it is, as you say, and evolving because it seems like it's always a moving needle. Interest rates are either sky high or capital's available or not available at all. The programs change. They don't remain the same. As soon as you think you know one program that is no longer around, so you have to always be on your toes. But, your agency seems to have gotten this kind of nimble act together, recognizing that you've got to work with what you got right now today. So you can't live in the past. You got to live with the programs you have. And it seems like you do a very good job of getting the word out about these are the programs we have now. Folks, come on and let's use them. When you think about the programs that you have that are partnered with financial institutions, are the round of financial institutions we have today knowledgeable with these programs? And have you been able to really craft awareness within the financial community about how to best use the programs that you have to offer?
Absolutely. I would say that the very large lenders, the national lenders, the regional lenders, all have departments and staff that are dedicated to, they know SBA lending, and they're dedicated to that. Some of your smaller and community banks don't necessarily have such a division, so we spend a lot of time. One of the things we do is to work with them and help train them and help them understand how to meet all of the requirements, so that when they're participating in our loans, we want them to know that we do stand behind them. And that's something we do on an ongoing basis. There's lender turnover, so it's an ongoing challenge, particularly for the smaller banks. But our job, again, is to keep them aware and abreast of the new programs, and also to keep our eyes and ears open for how to make those programs work in a fashion that's going to encourage the lenders to use them. We've been doing a lot of that in recent times. We want
listening and finding out how you can modify the programs to support the challenges that lenders have today.
Absolutely, and we've done a lot of that in recent times, and you have to be nimble. We realize that, the government, needless to say, is a huge entity to move. It's not known for being nimble and flexible. However, we recognize that to remain relevant and helpful to the needs of today's small businesses, that we do need to be aware and we need to be responsive. So we've dedicated a lot of time to doing that.
Now, because like most government entities, you've been forced to downsize. You've been forced to live within your means, and you found your means are even less than you thought they were come budget time each time of year. And so staff sizes are down, and as a result, you still have the demand that's out there, and so you have to deliver services through partnerships and alliances. The SBA is no different. You have partners and alliances at the state, at the city level, with people that actually bring those services directly to your community. And we were talking about this just before we started today, about things like the small business development centers, so that it's not that everybody has to march downtown to the SBA office to get services. You've actually pushed services out throughout the state of Illinois through these small business development centers. Has that partnership worked to your satisfaction here in the state of Illinois?
That's been an excellent partnership. I think we're very fortunate in Illinois that the state, through DCEO, actually is our partner for the Small Business Development Center program, because they have a reach throughout the state, and they work in partnership with colleges and universities and small business chambers around the state, so that the coverage is there in every area of the state. Wherever you're located, you can access those kinds of services. And another thing that's particularly, I think, good about that network is they not only deal with the traditional kinds of assistance a business might need in business planning or putting together a financial package, but some of the centers are dedicated to helping companies in technology areas, and some of them focus on international trade and promote exporting, which is really hot today, and it's something that the agency is giving a lot of focus to. And they also work in partnership with the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. Those are very, very key to helping small businesses figure out how to do business with government, particularly the federal government, but at every level. So they provide a variety of kinds of assistance, and they're really a great resource, and it's a good partnership for us.
Well, I'm sure my friend Mark Petrelli would be glad to know that his partnership and his contributions at DCO are highly regarded. And I know that the PTACs in this area out at the College of DuPage, and also a good friend of mine, Frida Curry, is part of the PTAC team down at the Women's Business Development Center. And and I told Frida, I said, you guys have been holding out on us. I thought only women could come down and participate. She said, well, who told you that? And I say, see, that's the difference. Women read, men just assume and think they know what's going on. And that's one of again, at the Women's Business Development Center, they have a Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And they have these professionals like Frida that really know the ins and outs of government procurement and all the kinds of things you have to do. And it's helped. Illinois for years used to complain about the fact that we didn't get our fair share back back from our expenditures to the federal government in terms of the dollars coming back into the state. And that's exactly what those procurement technical assistance centers are designed to do, not just assist you with contracts in and around Illinois, but to do contract work from the entire federal government wherever, and follow those and monitor those. And as you're capable of providing those products and services, maybe you can get some of that business opportunity.
Absolutely. And beyond the good work that the PTACs do, the SBA has programs specifically geared toward helping small businesses get some of that $500 billion a year that the federal government spends.
Wow.
And right here in our district office, we do manage a portfolio of companies that participate in programs such as the 8A program, which is an excellent tool for getting a foot into federal procurement. And also, we now administer a women-owned small business program. There's a program for veteran-owned businesses and HubZone businesses. So,
I happened to go to a HubZone conference, I think about a week ago.
Yes.
And there were representatives from many agencies, as well as prime contractors that were at that HubZone. And that is a activity that's based on where companies are located. So if your business is located and employs people within a HubZone designation, you might find yourself in a preferred position to do business with the federal government.
Absolutely.
But you know, when we listen about the 8A program, and some of us have heard a little bit about that, can you give us a little more insight on that 8A program? Because it is a very, you and I were talking the other day before preparing for this show, remembering the great legacy and the achievements of Congressman Perrin Mitchell.
Yes.
And of course, he sometimes is referred to as the father of the 8A program. But that was a tremendous legislative accomplishment to get that. And that 8A is still on the books and still doing a job. Tell us a little bit about the 8A program and why it's such an important program.
Absolutely. That 8A authority has been around over 40 years now. And you're right, under the leadership of Congressman Perrin Mitchell, it made great advances in helping underserved businesses or small disadvantaged businesses, which include minorities and other disadvantaged owned businesses. But the program is a business development program, unlike HubZone or some of the other programs which give preferences for contracting. A company gets certified by SBA to participate in the 8A program, and for 9 years, they have a 9-year term, we work with them to help them meet their developmental needs. And we do that through education and training. We also assist them in getting into federal procurement. And one of the benefits of that program is that they can get non-competitive contracts up to a certain dollar limit set aside for them non-competitively if SBA asks a government agency to set it aside. And if we affirm that that company is capable of doing it, then the agency will award it to the company non-competitively. If it's over that threshold, which is normally $4 million for services or $6.5 million for manufacturing, if it's over that, we can ask them to set it aside to be competed only among qualified 8A companies. So that kind of helps to level the playing field. It reduces the realm of the companies that they're going to be competing against. And as such, it does help them to develop their capacity and to grow their revenues, obviously. And one of the ways in which we help with through the 8A program also is that the companies can develop a relationship, a mentor-protege relationship, with a company that's either a large business or it could be another small business that's more established and can help and provide developmental assistance. And it's a formal agreement the two companies sign. And that means that if the company is a large company, it could then joint venture with its 8A protege and they can bid together on small business contracts. So that helps expand the capacity.
So that's a benefit to both the small business and the larger business mentor.
To both.
That they can come together and now combine their talents and expertise to go after specific contract opportunities.
Absolutely.
Has this program in Illinois, because over my career in information technology, I always felt like the companies around the Beltway had a unique advantage because they could just hover around DC and sniff out the contracts. And I felt that maybe it was a little more slow motion back here in the Midwest and in Chicago. But have you seen people actually benefit and create these kinds of relationships, mentor-protege programs, 8A participation, and really grow to scale their companies right here in Illinois?
Absolutely. I think it's just one of the best tools that we provide 8A companies, and a number of them right here in Illinois have taken advantage of it and do at present have those kinds of relationships. And you're absolutely right, as federal procurement goes, whether it's in the realm of small business contracting or just overall, the Beltway, that's where most of the action is. That's where most of the contracts are awarded. However, the federal government awards contracts basically in just about every state across the country. And we have a number of companies here. In fact, we had a conference about 3 weeks ago right here in Chicago to bring together 8 companies from the whole region who were looking for mentors, who are interested, and we also brought companies in that have an interest in working with 8A companies as mentors. And we had some success stories featured there.
Wow.
Who actually gave the detail of how it really works in the real world and how each company has benefited from it.
Now, you talked about the importance of human capital development, of education and training. And all of our businesses are trying to figure out how to manage in these challenging times, craft unique strategies that could bring real value into the markets they're trying to serve. Everybody's not trying to necessarily do business with the federal government, but everybody's trying to be successful in this hyper-competitive environment that we're in. And oftentimes, if you started your business 3, 5, 7 years ago, or even 2 years ago, you're faced with a very different competitive climate today than maybe you were when you started your business. So most of us don't have time to go back to business school and try to rejigger our strategies, but you came up with a very novel program that also seems like it's getting a lot of traction and a lot of success with business people, and it's called the E200 program. This seems to be a program that is well suited for helping companies come to grips with fundamental core strategic issues and rethink and reposition their value propositions. How did the E200 program come about?
Well, it's a program that I think has developed into one of the best offerings we have for companies that have high growth potential. They've reached a certain level and now they need to figure out how to reach the next level. They need to form that strategy for the next several years. And this program came about as a partnership between SBA and actually a Boston, Massachusetts group that has this program that's based on some of the programs developed out of the Harvard Business School. And it was a curriculum that they had tested and it had worked great for companies initially in inner city areas. And that's how it started out. Chicago was one of the pilot areas 5 sessions ago. We're now in our 5th session. And it targeted businesses that are in inner city areas where maybe there's high unemployment, and it's a way for those businesses to grow and create employment opportunities in those communities and help them develop.
And having experienced that program myself, what's so interesting about it is sometimes people are frustrated with Business Plan 101, Accounting 101, Sales and Marketing 101, and they say, well, I don't need the rudimentary stuff. I need something a little more sophisticated. And the E200 program was right up there with cutting edge thinking, like you say, whether it's Harvard Business School or the University of Chicago. It was right up there with the most current strategic methodologies and systems that are so important, yet most small businesses can't afford to go out and hire a Booz Allen consultant or a McKinsey's consultant to come in and rethink and look at some of these different processes. So this was a way of bringing that kind of power and that kind of skill down, and more importantly, if people were fortunate enough to get in the class was free. It wasn't even charged to have that kind of deep consulting type expertise. That's a phenomenal offering. And I think, again, it's indicative of the fact that your agency is making changes, is providing new kinds of cutting edge services, oftentimes without an ad budget. So it's not that people know all of this. So as you look to the second half of this year, and your agency has now come out of this very challenging period where it was like no lending and it was just a terrible time, and now we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. What makes you, again, very happy to be in the role that you're in, where you can be a part of this turnaround in this economy, working with small businesses?
Well, I've been involved in working with small businesses for more years than I care to specify. However, I have an interest, I'm fascinated with entrepreneurs. That entrepreneurial spirit is energizing, and we see it all the time. We saw it in some of your previous guests.
Okay.
So it's fascinating and it's energizing, and when you see the fruit of the labors of the businesses themselves and the resources that we're just able to play a small part in bringing together with them, it really is invigorating, and it's encouraging, and I look forward to the challenges and finding ways to work in partnership to overcome them.
Well, my hat's off to you, Director Roussel. You've had an outstanding career. So many people are glad that you are still in there swinging for small businesses here in Chicago. You've made so many friends and so many allies in the contributions that you've made. We're very happy that small businesses are still on the top of your pecking order, because I'm sure you could go anywhere and do any other thing because people want talent wherever they can get it. I want to thank you for being part of this dialogue. You know, we like talking about entrepreneurship and business opportunities, and yes, we're going to find those business opportunities and resources wherever we can. It's your government, it's your taxpayers' dollars, and it's good to know that representatives such as Judith Roussel at the Small Business Administration here in Chicago is doing all she can to connect the resources and the talents and the skills she has with people that want and demand access to them. So if you're looking for opportunities, look no further than the Chicago District Office of the Small Business Administration. Find out, there's a whole half a dozen of things we didn't even get a chance to talk about today that are rolling out, whether it's Startup America, whether it's the Women's Business Initiative, whether it's the Exporting Initiative. There are all kinds of things that this country and your president and this agency is doing to make a difference in the lives of job creators. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and this has been another edition of Technology Access Television.